Today, two captivating movies named Gulliver's Travels and Ant-Boy will be explained. Let's explain the movie named Gulliver's Travels. A boy named Gulliver appears as the movie starts, and he always kept himself satisfied. He used to work for a company. One day, Gulliver is interviewing a boy. He also asks that boy some informal questions. Then he comes to know that the boy has been hired. Then Gulliver takes that boy for a visit to the office. There is also a girl named Darcy, and Gulliver also introduces that new employee to Darcy. That employee gets the point after observing both of them. Gulliver likes that girl, but Gulliver does not get the courage to talk with that girl. Then the new employee and Gulliver are moving through an elevator. At the same time, Darcy also appears there. Then the hired employee goes, leaving both of them alone, so they may understand each other while talking. In the coming day, Gulliver is shown recreating in the office. Meanwhile, a hired employee reaches there. He tells Gulliver, "Do you know that I have been promoted? I am your head from now on." Then that hired employee also says to Gulliver, "It is your nature that did not let you be promoted till now, so you should change your nature. Darcy has no feelings for you till now because of your nature." Hearing it, Gulliver is a bit worried. Afterward, he moves to the office of Darcy. Going there, he picks up a travel information form. Darcy asks him, "Do you like traveling?" Gulliver says on it, "Yes, a lot of interest." He tells me that I have traveled to New York, England, and even India. Knowing it, Darcy feels good. Then she says to Gulliver, "You must write down about your visited places." When Gulliver starts writing, he is confused about what he should write, because Gulliver had told a lie to impress Darcy. In fact, he traveled nowhere. Then he plagiarizes a report from different articles and texts on the internet. Witnessing it, Darcy is impressed while feeling pleasure. Then Darcy says to him, "You must write something, visiting the Bermuda Triangle." The next day, Gulliver travels to the Bermuda Triangle, where the captain of the boat leads him to the boat, and he instructs him to sail the boat. That you have to sail, tracing the red track, then you will reach the Bermuda Triangle, and press this button oppositely when you wish to return. Gulliver says on it, "It is not a big deal for me. Behold, I will accomplish it easily." After this, Gulliver travels to the Bermuda Triangle, but he falls asleep during the voyage. Then his boat is caught in the sea storm. He is left shocked after witnessing some facts when he reawakens, because many people were standing on his body, and they had tied him up with the ropes, and they were the tiny creatures that had climbed him up, which are called dwarfs. Lilliput had also built a bridge on Gulliver, and those Lilliputians were treating Gulliver as a giant. Who will kill them and eat them? There was the Lilliputians' army. There was also a general of the army among them. Then Gulliver tries to stand up to get freedom, but those Lilliputians start to pull him again. Then Gulliver falls down again, and a tiny soldier comes under the burden of Gulliver. Then those tiny soldiers are taking him to their king while pulling him. Gulliver says to their king, "Neither I am a giant nor a demon. I am rather an ordinary human being, and tell me where this is," because Gulliver was not believing in his eyes till now. Then those tiny soldiers imprison Gulliver in a place. Gulliver also meets another prisoner named Horatio there, but Horatio was unlike Gulliver, but he was rather tiny like them. Gulliver asks Horatio, "Why are you here?" Horatio replies, "I have affections for princesses, so Princess's fiancé, General, has imprisoned me for this cause." Meanwhile, General approaches there. Gulliver says the General, "You are a stupid person." The General asks him, "What is the meaning of stupid?" Gulliver says that the meaning of stupid is an audacious person. Afterward, the General begins to call himself stupid. One day, General Lewis sets Gulliver on a cart and rides on it, but their region is attacked by another rival kingdom, and the entire palace is set on fire. Moreover, there is also an attempt to abduct the princess. Coming here, Gulliver rescues the princess, but the entire palace was set on fire, and the people are frightened. They begin to run to and fro. There is created a fuss. Gulliver tells them, "Listen. There is no tension behind it. I will blow out the fire." Then Gulliver extinguishes the fire. Meanwhile, the general is also wet. Being furious, the general leaves from there. Witnessing it, the king requests Gulliver, and he invites on a feast. Gulliver says on it, "I will be there for a feast on a condition, that Horatio should be released." Then the king agrees with Gulliver, and Horatio is released. Then Gulliver is dining with the king and all those people. Then the king asks, "Gulliver, have you come from the river?" Gulliver tells on it, "No, I have come from New York." Then all began to think that he was the president of New York. Knowing it, Gulliver starts boasting there, "How I rescued the inhabitants of New York along with that city. Now I am the mighty and wise president of New York." Then the king assures him that we will soon search out your boat. King builds a grand house for Gulliver, so Gulliver may lead a normal life there. Then it is seen that Gulliver and Horatio are talking about how the princess may be impressed. Horatio carries out what Gulliver tells him with the passage of time, and Gulliver also makes Horatio act foolishly as he himself continues to do it. In spite of this, the princess is impressed by Horatio. On the same night, Gulliver searches for the boat of Gulliver, because General Lee wanted to release Gulliver from that place. Gulliver is able to get his cell phone in the boat. There is a notification of Darcy's voice message. Gulliver begins to listen to it. Darcy has conveyed a message through voicemail. I am approaching there to meet you. Then it is seen that opponents have again attacked their kingdom. Then Horatio tells Gulliver, who is coming there, that our king has selected him as the general of our kingdom, so you have to protect our kingdom now. Then Gulliver appears to confront the opposition. He tries to explain them, retreat back from here, but the opponents ignore Gulliver, and they begin to attack them, throwing stones. Gulliver does not receive any harm. Then Gulliver brings their boat to the shore while pulling them. In this way, Gulliver secures their kingdom. Now that General had started to envy Gulliver too much, then Gulliver and others are celebrating their victory. Gulliver is tagged as a hero there. Moreover, he is providing great facilities. Princess breaks up with General. Being aggressive, the General moves on to the king of opponents. General has stolen that magazine from Gulliver's boat, which had the whole process of making a robot. Then General Marvel appears before Gulliver, wielding himself as a robot. Witnessing that robot, Gulliver is afraid and that robot begins to throw him in the air, and Gulliver's reality is exposed before everyone. He tells everyone that his words and boasting were based on lies. Then the general sends Gulliver somewhere after tying him up. Gulliver reaches a place and thinks as if he has come into his own world, but he had approached the contrasting place right now. First, he had gone to Lilliput, and now he had come to Brobdingnag, who was taller than him, where a child has taken Gulliver as his toy doll. Then Gulliver meets Horatio there. Horatio tells him that Darcy has come to meet him in our region, but General Hanoi has imprisoned her along with the king, and it is you who can help and free them. And Gulliver reaches the king and Darcy at night. On a coming day, a fight is held between that robot and Gulliver. Here, the robot has a heavy hand over Gulliver, because he beats Gulliver, but Horatio damages some of the wires of the robot. With a chance, Gulliver ends that robot. In this way, they win the game. Afterward, the king consents to the marriage of Horatio and the princess, and Darcy also forgives Gulliver's mistakes, but the general captures the princess, coming there. At the same time, princess hits him, freeing him. Consequently, the general loses the princess's grip. Then Darcy goes to Gulliver, and the movie also concludes here. Now the movie Ant-Boy will be explained. A child named Pele Noman appears as the movie starts. He is about 12 years old. Pele has not a single friend in the school. Pele sits on the balcony of the school as the class is over. He is eating an apple while sitting there. At the same time, Pele casts a glance at his friend, who was being teased by two boys. Then Pele throws that apple at those boys. In doing so, he hides, but both mischievous boys witnessed Pele. Then they come after Pele, leaving his friend. Then he moves to a house's garden in order to hide. Those mischievous boys leave that place, not glimpsing Pele anywhere. Then Pele also leaves for his house. It is seen that an insect creeps on his body. Reaching for his neck, the ant bites him. After a while, he loses consciousness. Restoring his senses, he leaves for his house. Pele sees that his friend Amanda's father is live streaming on TV. After this, Pele begins to take breakfast. Here, strange things start happening to him. He lifts a milk packet, but it sticks to his hand as he begins to put it down, and it sticks to his other hand when he tries to put it aside with another hand. Then he asks his father to get rid of it, but his glass of juice is also broken as he lifts it. Then Pele goes to his school, and he strikes with one of his friends, reaching at school. Then he attempts to open the door to enter the class, but the door does not open, and the door handle is separated. It is clear here that the objects were sticking to his hands, and Pele's standing friend there was witnessing this, so he starts to suspect that Pele has some superpowers. Then Pele is sitting with his other students for a sports class. There is also his friend, who is keeping an eye on him. Then the teacher calls the name Pele at first. He takes the trial of Pele in order to teach the new game to the students. Pele is falling down as the teacher practices it on him. Then the teacher asks him to stand up, and Pele again falls down. Now Pele is gearing up again for the third time. All the students are looking at them. The teacher again practices on Pele. At this time, Pele confronts it powerfully, and he always remains safe from the teacher's hitting. Afterwards, He hits his teacher minutely, which makes him fall down at a distance. All are left surprised upon seeing him. Seeing it, Pele runs away. Then he is going to his house, where his friend approaches. Pele's friend poses questions about his powers, but Pele does not much care for his said words. Then Pele's friend hands him over the comic book superhero. Pele dreams of being a superhero while reading that comic book. Going to school, he first approaches his friend. He tells his friend that an ant has bitten him. I have changed after this. It means that something strange is happening to me. Hearing it, Pele's friend takes him to his home, where Pele finds the objects relevant to the superheroes. Otherwise, his friend's house was stuffed with trendy things. Pele's friend tries to discover which power Pele possesses. He discovered it after conducting the little experiments. Sometimes he asks Pele to bite the book, sometimes he tries to make him fly in the air, otherwise, he also makes him put on the costume of a superhero, so he may look completely like a superhero. And Pele chooses the name Ant-Boy for him after thinking a lot about the names. Then it is seen that a thief has run away after grabbing the handbag of a lady. Pele asks the thief to return the bag, going to him. The thief ignores him, considering him an ordinary child, so he attempts to scare Pele, and Pele takes his steps back. Then that thief observes that this child is climbing up the wall. Here one power of Pele is revealed before him, and Pele captures that robber. At the same time, police also captured them upon arriving there. Then Pele reveals everything to his friend. He also tells him that I was able to climb up the wall, but he is unable to do it when he tries to attempt it practically. Pele had also known his weaknesses along with his strengths. His power will be weakened if he does not take sugar for a long time. Then Pele begins to assist others, using his powers. At first sight, he was renowned by the name Ant-Boy, and the kids begin to mimic Ant-Boy. Being followers, the kids started putting on the costume like him. Once, a man entered the room of Amanda when was in her room. Who is wearing the weird dress? That man leaves after abducting Amanda. Here his name is revealed. His name is Flea. The next day, it is noticed that a child is hanging on the wall of the school. Seeing him, Ant-Boy moves to rescue him. Reaching there, Ant-Boy knows that it is not a child but only a doll, which had been kept there by Amanda's sister. She wanted to enlist the help of Ant-Boy to bring Amanda back. Amanda's sister tells Ant-Boy that a man named Flea has abducted her sister. That man is weird by his look and costume. He was flying, so he was not an ordinary one. She tells me that my father serves in the vaccine research company. That man has asked for a $20 million ransom, and he has also put forward the idea that my father should leave the job from there. Then Ant-Boy consents to release Amanda, but they come to Pele's house before their departure. Pele's friend flies away in a rage, witnessing Amanda's sister there, and he says to him, "What was the need to bring her here?" Then Ant-Boy reaches a house while sniffing Amanda. Pele is left astonished, seeing that place, because it was the same place where that ant had bitten Pele. Then Ant-Boy enters the house. He observes the different insect glass boxes while entering them. Many insects had been put in them. Amanda had also been imprisoned in such a glass box. Ant-Boy is just thinking about bringing Amanda out from there. Then the Flea appears there, and Flea also imprisons Ant-Boy in a glass box. Ant-Boy is just thinking about bringing Amanda out from there. Then the Flea appears there, and Flea also imprisons Ant-Boy in a glass box. Here Flea exposes a fact to Ant-Boy. He says that I was an employee at Amanda's father's company, where I used to research the ants. One day, the company fired me for no reason, and he was not told why he had been terminated, and my mother passed away because she took on so much stress during this trouble. He tells me I had thought, from that time on, of taking revenge on Amanda's father, because Amanda's father is the owner of that company, and I have also enhanced my powers after researching the number of insects, so that I may take revenge, and it was my ant that bit you, on which I conducted my last experiment, and you possessed such powers because of the bite of that ant. It is our personal fight, so don't interrupt us, because it will be better for you, and the people like your superpowers, not you. It means that they like Ant-Boy and not Pele, because Ant-Boy has superpowers while Pele is an ordinary kid. Hearing it, Pele remembers his previous days. Then he decides that he will live his life with the identity of Pele and not as Ant-Boy. One day, Pele is in his classroom. Flea grabs Pele's friend. Reaching there, Pele again transforms into an Ant-Boy in order to rescue him. After taking no sugar for a long time, Pele had weakened. It means that his superpowers are not working now. Then Flea comes before Pele, seizing his friend, but Pele's powers are restored after taking a type of liquid, but Flea had disappeared, taking Pele's friend until that time. Then Ant-Boy reaches a forest, using the glasses of his friend, where he finds his friend tied to a tree. Then Ant-Boy releases his friends from those ropes, and the flea appears there, and the fight starts between Ant-Boy and Flea. Meanwhile, Pella's friend also calls the police, then they remove a pipe fixed behind him, which causes the bleeding. Now Flea starts weakening, where Ant-Boy hits him more, and he throws him away, but Flea is unable to stand up now. Then police approach there and arrest Flea. He is taken away. After this, Pele decides that he will help humanity, acting like Ant-Boy. The Ant-Boy movie also completes this scene. Thank you for watching.